Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm your host Vinny, and this is The Human Factor. So today I have a recurring guest. If everybody remembers from the last episode where I did an interview, it is my friend Christian. Christian, would you like to introduce yourself besides your first name, obviously, and age, background, a little bit about yourself?
Cool. I've known Vinny a long time. We're good friends.
I
My
agree.
family is from Cuba. Essentially, I'm 31 years old. Live in South Florida. Um,
You're
yeah,
31 years young because
I
there's a lot of people
appreciate
who are
that.
31 years old, but you are 31 years young.
My knees crack now when I get out. Well, they've been cracking for a
I
while.
heard
So
them. I heard
yes, you
them.
did.
You know, at least your shoulder's not cracking yet, because mine is. It's knees, it's head. What is it? Shoulders, knees, and toes.
Yeah.
That's literally been my day today, is cracking shoulders, knees, and
God,
toes.
I know. Yeah, 31 years young. Since you're so kind. Yeah, I'm here. We're doing the podcast. I'm very excited to be on it.
Okay, so you don't mind if I ask you some questions along the way, and we'll get to
Of
know a little bit
course.
more about yourself. That's
Of
the
course.
whole reason for this podcast. It
Yes.
wasn't just to know about me like the last one. It was to know about everybody else in the world and what they're up to.
Cool.
All right. So my first question to you, which I hope is a really good one.
Okay.
We're going to start easy, and then we're going to slowly just break into your soul.
Okay.
Okay. So, what are some of the different roles that you've had in your life?
Okay.
And what role did you enjoy the most and the least?
So my first job, I'm pretty sure I was in college at the time. First job I had was working at a martial arts school, and that was one of honestly my favorites. Looking back, it was really special because growing up in martial arts, I did Korean martial arts for 16 years of my life. I'm third degree black belt, and it's growing up in it, like teaching it to like the future generation, it was always a very special thing.
Hmm.
The kids, they look at you like you're like literally like a superhero. And it's a very special bond that you create with these kids, and it's something that I miss.
Do you
Yeah.
feel like you learned more than just martial arts when you take
Yes.
martial arts?
Yeah.
Because, you think about kids these days that don't have any kind of discipline.
Oh yeah.
So, what does martial arts teach someone from a very young age? Because you can take martial arts when you're older. I mean, I fought in a UFC gym for a little bit
Sure.
at like, I don't know, 20 something, and I think that gave me perspective on discipline.
Of course.
But as a child, and especially, you said you started off as a
When I
younger
was 8 years
at
old.
8 years old, which is
Yeah.
very young. You're still in elementary school at that point,
Hmm.
but then also you were a teacher for the
Yes.
school. So being that you were a teacher for the school, the role, and we'll get back to the question, you just fill this in. What do you benefit from as a child? And then what do you benefit from as an adult, having learned that and now teaching
Yeah.
that to the new generation?
As a kid, I mean, you're gonna learn structure, you're gonna learn discipline, you're gonna learn things like honor and integrity and perseverance. I mean, we used to teach the kids that discipline is doing what you should do, even when you don't want to do it.
Hmm.
And that's
Like it
that's
beats out motivation.
yeah, yeah. Like you know that you need to do X, Y, Z. You don't feel like doing X, Y, Z, but you need to do it anyway, and that's having discipline. So those things I still carry with me, every day. And I think it molded me into like who I am. And no one's perfect, but I think it's definitely helped me along my journey of life.
Hmm.
And being able to teach those things to kids, everyone has their own how can I put it? Everyone has their own story, right? And this is
Hmm.
what this show kind of does, is show everyone's story. And again, it's the human factor.
So if that was the role that you feel was the most highly benefit for you, what was detrimental as a role in your life? And it doesn't have to
Yeah.
be a job. It can
Okay.
just be anything. Like it could be, you were a teacher, so that, I mean, that's a role, but that was also your job. It could be something outside. It could be a sibling, or it could be a family member, it could be a friend, just
Okay.
a role that you played.
I'd probably honestly, I guess for the sake of the conversation, I'm probably gonna keep it in like roles of job. But I kind of didn't finish the previous thought. You wanted to know based on the student versus the teacher aspect, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So for students, right, core life values, things that you're going to carry throughout your entire existence and life on this planet, right? as a teacher, being able to, because you have to kind of remind yourself, you have to walk the walk, right? So
Yep.
you need to be very mindful as to how you look to these kids to properly teach them these values. Um, I feel like it also really helped me kind of with like communication skills
Hmm.
and being able to talk to the kids, empathize with the kids, also with the parents too. You know, being able to kind of like read the room. A lot of that stuff kind of still I feel even in my current role at work, that like being able to talk to a customer, address a customer a certain way, like to have the emotional EQ of like to provide like the best customer service. I think a lot of it started there. Like to be able to get up in front of like 40 kids and all of their parents in the back too. Like a lot of people have like stage fright. I'm like an anxious person and I always have been. And I feel like this was like a trial by fire to like beat a lot of that out of me, which was great.
And you started at an early age doing that. So
Yeah.
you would say
But
that that
I,
discipline is also part of the fear of being in front of others and socializing and being.
yes and no. Like it's a little different when, so like as a kid, dang man, I could actually like talk about this a lot
I would love to hear
for
it.
the sake of time.
Tell
Like,
me.
well, I know we
We
have a
don't.
lot of
We
questions.
have plenty of time.
Um, so this is actually a really cool experience. So back when I was a kid, I was maybe 12 years old, and like we were part of like like a worldwide federation at the time, and it was a huge like daunting thing as a kid to take your like black belt test.
Mm.
I had to fly to Georgia
Did you?
and go to like a convention hall kind of thing to take it in front of a ton of like masters I've never met in my life. Like it was something out of like Avatar: The Last Airbender
Mhm.
type, you know,
Yeah.
like it was like a lot as a kid. As an adult, you're like, okay, whatever. But like as a kid, you're like, yo, this is crazy. I don't know who half of these people are. Like, oh, who is this guy over here? Looks like Master Oogway. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you're like, oh,
Well, it's daunting. You
yeah,
don't want to mess
It's
up.
daunting, exactly. So, yeah, like experiences like that, you know, as a kid, were kind of crazy. And then as an adult being an instructor, it's just as daunting to like get up and teach a room of 30 to 40 kids in front of their parents, because
Mhm.
like it's not just the kids, because like to impress the kids is easier than to impress the parents. Like the parents are the ones that are like looking at you with like dagger eyes of like, what is this
Well, they're
guy?
paying for
What
it.
is this guy going to tell my kid? You know what I'm saying? There's like added pressure that wouldn't, it's another level of pressure, I guess, in my opinion, that like you don't have with just like, oh, you're taking a test.
Mhm.
Like now it's like you got the bright future of all these children and what the parents perceive of the children and you on the line while you're here trying to teach. Like
It
it's
sounds like a lot.
It's a lot for like, you don't realize it, but like it's kind of a lot, especially if you have like any kind of stage fright, anything. So like as a kid, I guess it kind of helped to get me out of my. I've always been a social butterfly, but like the whole thought of like public speaking and like that being like a thing, like a fear, it's like gone now because of that. Like I don't care. Like I'll do karaoke in front of a bunch of people. Like I'm completely like desensitized to speaking in front of large audiences.
So do you think that if
Like there could be a
kids,
million people watching this podcast, and I'm like, okay,
yeah, whatever, right?
like yeah,
No, because to me, it's I didn't grow. I mean, I did karate for a little bit as a kid, and then obviously did the UFC stuff,
Yeah.
and just some sparring and some fighting in that sense, but nothing crazy. Like I didn't spend years
Mhm.
with discipline.
Sure.
As to anybody who saw my previous episode, I grew up in the back of a pizzeria, so
Mhm.
living in that environment, I was always talking to older people, and being that you're behind the counter, you always have to be cordial, even
Sure.
the customer is always right.
Yeah.
So you get that feeling that you have to be a certain way, as to where you're saying it that you can just talk to the microphone. You really don't care what anybody else thinks. So you have a different aspect on that.
Mm.
So I had a big problem with public speaking in college and just in general.
Yeah.
But we also share, even though two separate lives, two different ways, we also share the outgoing personality of you can talk to anyone, you can go sing in karaoke. So that's really amazing that it led you to that. Now, do you think that having that these days would change a child's mentality and moral practices for the future? Meaning, like if a 10-year-old kid these days did karate, do you think that they would benefit the same way you did, or because the way that the world kind of is, it wouldn't be as beneficial, or would it be more beneficial?
I think it'll definitely help. It's better than not having it, in my opinion.
Mhm.
I would want to try to pass those things on to like my one day kids, right?
Yeah.
So I do think it's beneficial.
Okay.
There's a lot of negativity and distractions in the world, and this is something I think that's very positive for young kids. Obviously, you'd want to kind of scope out the school, make sure it's not in the industry, as we call it, McDojo, where it's like
What is that?
it's like fluff, like McDonald's. Like you don't want it to be like not a like you want to see what they're teaching the kids and stuff. You want to make sure it's not like
Yeah, you're just spending money.
Yeah.
For no
You don't
reason.
want
They
like
get nothing
kiddie
out of it.
daycare. You want actual substance. You
Yeah.
know?
No, and I get that totally because
so yeah.
from what I've heard, there are a lot of places that are like that. You pay all this money to get in,
It's
and
with
then your kids
anything.
are literally just running around like they're in a
Yeah.
daycare.
It could be
rather
like
than
a
learning
dance
anything.
school, parkour. Like you want to make sure your kids are learning something of substance. So,
Yeah.
like watch a couple classes and see if it's a good fit
Mhm.
for Jimmy or whatever. We used to always use a filler name, Jimmy.
Hey, it's a common name, so it works out.
Well, Jimmy. So there's that, and then you asked me about I guess like a negative.
Yeah, like I don't
Yeah.
want to say a detrimental role,
Sure.
but more of a role that just you didn't enjoy.
I sold furniture for a while for a large
I remember this.
furniture company, and I didn't find that very fulfilling, to be honest.
Now,
was
was
just
it
to pay the bills?
was it because you were selling something that you really didn't care about?
Exactly.
Okay.
Like I pride myself on like again the whole people pleasing thing of the last
Mhm.
your interview.
Yeah.
I'm kind of the same way. So like I enjoyed providing exceptional service for people, but like certain limitations of the job I would find disappointment with if I was unable to if like the ball was dropped here or there or whatever and the customer had a bad experience. Like I kind of still to this day like it's hard on me when a customer has like a negative experience because I try to like make sure they don't.
Mhm.
And yeah, I just didn't find it fulfilling. Like I slight enjoyment with providing great service to people, but like I don't care about couches. I don't care about materials of seats and whatever. It's like to me. And then for the same company, I switched out of the sales role and I did visual merchandising for them for a while, which I was in charge of like 2 stores, making sure they looked nice and stuff like that. It was,
And they were massive stores.
I mean, I
They were pretty big
guess.
stores.
Yeah, it was pretty big, and it was like an interesting thing to do. At least I got to use like creative juices of like, oh, like you're still within the confines of what they want from you within the furniture setup, but like you have a little more leeway of like, oh, we'll put the carpet like this, and the seat like that, and the sofa, and the art on the walls, and whatever. And it's all right. I found enjoyment there, but like I didn't find it fulfilling. I wasn't like proud of like, yo, I get to I get to do this every day kind of thing. So it was kind of like a meh.
Well,
thing.
on the other note, I mean, think of many people in like Manhattan that they do the storefronts, and they get
Yeah.
paid a ton of money for it.
Yeah.
These Saks Fifth Avenue, all these
Yeah, of
huge
course.
corporations, they'll pay you a ton of money to do a storefront. I watched. I don't know if you ever saw it. The movie from I think it was the '80s, Mannequin. Have you ever seen
I've
it?
never seen that.
Where the mannequin comes to life and they fall in love. Him and the
What?
yeah, it's actually a phenomenal movie.
What?
It is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Okay.
It's kind of a chick flick, but it's also like I don't know, it's like a fantasy movie. It's really
The
cool.
wife and I are gonna have to watch this.
Yeah,
now. Like
she'll like it.
Mannequin.
It's called Mannequin. Yeah, it's from the
Mannequin,
80s.
okay.
And she is a mannequin, and then he places her in the window that he designed, the whole window. Then at a certain period of time in the middle of the night, she would come to life, and he's like, what? And she's like this beautiful blonde girl. She's everything he ever wanted. And then
Interesting.
in the morning, she would go back to being a mannequin.
Oh my god.
So it's like it's heartwarming and heartbreaking at
It's
the
like
same time.
it's like the Indian in the cupboard or something like
Yes,
that.
it's
Yeah.
exactly like that. So, but getting back to it, yeah, a lot of
Okay.
people have that storefront
Mm.
mentality. Like going into a house, especially an empty house, I can see where I want furniture.
Yeah.
So, being in the same boat, technically, or the same room, you were putting the furniture where it was prior to what other people would not necessarily know where it would go that would look well.
Yeah.
And I saw some of your stuff. You had some good work.
Yeah.
You had some good work. Actually, you had some great work. Definitely better than me. So I can't say anything on that. But yeah, it was good. So for someone who wants to get into that business,
Yeah.
okay, because there's someone for everything. And
Sure.
obviously on this podcast, I want to have a lot of different people who have a lot of different experiences in life, not just their personal experiences, but also their professions,
Sure.
which growing up, the whole reason for this podcast initially, before what I wanted to turn it into and what it has become now, was a place for younger people or older people to listen to people who are in a position
Yeah.
and I don't mean like the position just standing, but their position, pizza man, um, printer, designer, graphic designer, technician, IT, whatever it is, that they can find out about this.
Sure.
Because how many people go to college? They honestly have no idea what they want to do. I had no idea what I want to
Neither
do.
did I.
I mean, I'm 41 and I just finished college. I think like 38 or 39. I finally finished my bachelor's. And they don't teach you in school
No.
about a lot of things. On our last one, we had talked about, the finance thing, which we'll get into, but they had taught you, school doesn't teach you these things. So you go through all of it and then they just give you a pamphlet and says, yeah, you can be an accountant because it makes money. Yeah, you can be a financial advisor because it makes money. Yeah, you can be a pizza man. It's mediocre money, but, and you'll work a lot. You can be this, you could be that, but nobody really knows
Yeah.
what it's like to be in those shoes, because a lot of people don't know the person that does that job to ask them. If you had to sum it up, what did a day in your shoes look like?
And
Like you wake up in the morning
like
for
what?
for the furniture store. So like you wake up
Yeah.
in the morning, you have your cup of coffee, you put your shoes on, you hopefully your pants too, and you
Yeah.
go to work. And when you get there, you clock in. What does an 8-hour day in a very short period of time look like?
The sales was sales. I mean, you'd show up, you'd sit down for like a morning debriefing. There might be some role plays or something that you would do,
Always.
of this and that and whatever, and blah blah blah. And this is the numbers, and this is what we're trying to do. And everyone's got this is your monthly kind of quota that we're expecting of you guys to produce, and this is where you're at. And you go hit the floor. Okay, cool. And then you would sell furniture,
So-
and then the what do you call it? The other aspect of it though, with the visual merchandising, I would come in and then I would check to see what stuff needs to be changed or modified or whatever. There was product that I would have to order, and there were certain days I would make these orders, and then our delivery team would bring them in, and I would typically oversee and assist with that. They would they got to move quick because they're not only delivering the stuff to the showroom, but sometimes they have other deliveries to do to the customers.
Mhm.
So there's a little bit of a hustle. And I was never one to just like point and go this, go there, go there. No, no, no. Like I'm going to help you guys out of respect. Like I will help you carry things, even though I'm pretty sure I wasn't supposed to, but whatever. I would help them,
Mhm.
and we would roll up certain rugs because they can offer a little bit of assist and move certain objects without killing too much time. And then I'm also very handy, so like me having a whole onslaught of tools in the back of my car at the time like helped too, because sometimes I would actually take apart beds and whatever instead of having because I had like a right hand guy also with me that was there on certain days that I would use him to facilitate deconstructing and resetting up like certain beds or whatever. So like it was kind of, I guess, cool in that regard, that like you're doing a bunch of different, at least I would felt like I was doing a bunch of different things.
It sounds like a role that you have a lot of hats that you wear.
A bit, yeah. So, I mean, it wasn't super duper like fulfilling where I'm like, yo, I'm like, this is such a sick job, but it was something to do, and it paid the bills, and like I thought it was all right. It wasn't bad, but like, I mean, somebody might really enjoy that. I was like, oh, okay.
Well, you see,
But-
I noticed that if I go to like the furniture store, there's always a lot of older people that work in there. So is it a lucrative business, like finance wise?
It depends on how good you are.
It depends on how good you are.
Like, I'll be honest, this is just like a thing in the industry, is a dumb level of margin on mattresses.
Really?
Yes. Like,
So you sell a mattress and you make a good profit off of it.
yeah, because the company makes a good profit. Like, just as just a general thing, it's like 70% profit margin on a mattress.
Really?
Not for the salesperson, for the company selling it.
It sounds good to be the
So that's
company
why-
making mattresses.
That's why when you go to like a mattress store, there's like one or two guys working, and you're like, how does this work? This has got to be like a drug front or something, right? It's not. It's just the cost of the mattress company. Like, let's say it's Mattresses Are Us, which is fake. I just made that up. You go in and there's a bunch of beds and they order this stuff for you, whatever, right? Like, you're sitting there thinking like, this has got to be a drug front. Like, there's no way. Like, how do you keep the lights on?
I mean, I've gone into mattress stores before, and there's one
There's
guy
one
working
guy.
in there,
Yeah,
and the
there's
other
one or
guy
two
is
guys. Yeah.
sleeping somewhere,
Exactly.
literally trying out a mattress.
So it's like 70% margin. Like, these companies are buying the stuff from whatever, Beauty Rest, Tempur-Pedic, blah, 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 for like 30% of what it costs you or I.
Wow.
And then I guess, this is what I've been told from just mattress stores specifically, is that I guess they can haggle a little bit on the price and this and that, because everybody that comes in, they're trying to make that sale because they don't want them to go somewhere else and get a better deal somewhere else. And there's more leeway because they're making 70% on the thing.
I mean, that's incredible. I didn't know the markup was that much.
Yeah.
That's like highway robbery.
Why do you think I have a Tempur-Pedic? It's
I got a
phenomenal
Tempur-Pedic too, and I
mattress.
paid retail.
But I got golden ticket discount on that
Yeah.
bad boy. So yeah,
That's a beautiful
because
thing,
I was an
'cause
employee
they are
of-
very, very,
of
very expensive.
XYZ furniture company.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's yeah.
Okay.
So
So I'm
that's a
gonna.
little in on the industry.
Yeah, I mean,
there.
I'm sure that the viewers
Yeah.
are gonna love that, but unless they know somebody, it doesn't sound like they're gonna get
No.
a much bigger discount.
You gotta like.
You got to sleep on it.
That was really good.
Like if you're gonna get a mattress, you got to sleep on it.
But yeah, I didn't even touch on this, but I mean, you and I worked at the performance shop.
Yeah.
That was super cool, but I wouldn't do it again just because working in the heat and constantly cutting your hands on the insides of a Ferrari is not fun.
And smelling like oil all the time.
I would wash we established in the previous episode that I have pretty furry legs from the knee down. So like when I would go take a shower, I would just, soap myself up, and like the soap suds that would come off of me were like as black as the floor. Like it was ridiculous. So
it was a
yeah.
good gig though.
It was a cool
It was
gig.
cool to. It was cool to enjoy.
It was.
Like we said, those cars and enjoy that life. But
Yeah.
that's
I wouldn't do it again.
That's
though.
pres- you
Just
wouldn't
'cause-
do it again?
No, I would not.
well. I mean, that I didn't even think about this one as a question for you.
Yeah.
But here, that's another role you played.
Yes.
So being that you got to work on all these crazy high end cars and you got
Yeah.
to drive R33 Skylines and
super cool.
like totally built R33,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
R35s, for Skylines for people that don't, GT2 RSs, just all the Audi R8s, everything, Rolls Royces, BMWs, like high end stuff. Bentleys, Bentleys were like a dime a dozen.
Yeah, no, I know.
And we ripped these cars apart like they were Hondas.
Yeah.
I
mean,
and
how
we
else
were
you
doing
gonna rip it
performance
apart?
work
Yeah.
to them nonetheless. But what would you tell somebody who either works in a dealership right now
Yeah.
that just does like oil changes and things like that? Maybe they're just in the beginning of that totem pole and they're not
Yeah.
really like a heavy into the mechanics yet. But what would you tell that person about finding a job at like a speed shop rather than the dealership?
Well, I mean, the dealership, I feel like they get the short end of the stick because, like, aren't they paid per job or something, regardless as to how long?
Yeah,
it
like
takes?
I
It's
worked
harder.
for a very high end company,
Yeah.
and when you get flat rate,
Yeah.
it's a beautiful thing when you work on a car for 5 hours and you get paid for 8.
Yeah.
Or I got friends that still are in the industry. They work 40 hours a week and they get paid for 90 hours a week. So it's amazing to make 10% plus 2 times your weekly income and you only worked 40 hours. But on the opposite note, same
the
exact thing, because we used to do water pumps on some of these cars and it's an 18-hour job and it takes 21 hours to do it.
Yeah.
So imagine you're taking half a week's worth of work and you're not getting paid for 3 of those hours. And granted, you get paid pretty well. I don't want to say you don't. A lot of these places they pay you really well, especially for like the German higher exotic
Yeah,
car
I feel
places.
like
They
you
pay
gotta
you
be
well.
in one of those. I don't know. If
Yeah, they
Toyota would
they
be
start
the same
off.
story or not.
Yeah, I don't think Toyota or Honda, or I don't know what they pay, to be honest with you, but I know that a higher end German exotic car company, they pay significantly
Yes.
higher. But you also get stuck, like I said, with that water pump. And at the end of the week, you did
Yeah.
60 hours of work and you only got paid for 30.
Yeah. So,
so it's
I mean,
tough in that
that's the
sense.
short end of the stick there with that. And I mean, I don't know. For me, it was cool to do for like 2 years,
Mhm.
but I just
I have nothing bad to say about that place. I loved it. I had a good time. We had a really good time working
I
there.
don't have.
I mean, that's where I
anything
met
bad
you.
Either. I don't have anything bad either. It's just like I don't know if I'd do it again. It's a lot of
Yeah.
physical work, especially if there's no AC.
And the older you
know.
get, the more you feel it too.
Yeah.
The more you feel it too.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the only bad part about it. It's just like,
Well, let's transition to something
contorting
else
around
here.
in the heat.
Well,
You're
yeah.
like, "Ugh, it's like
You
hot
remember
yoga,
being
except it's
upside
dirty."
down
Under
in
a
a
Jeep, yeah.
dashboard or a Jeep or something. Yeah. Putting a
So,
supercharger on.
yeah.
Well, transitioning
Sure.
from jobs
Mhm.
to finance,
Yes.
obviously higher end jobs, more money.
Mm.
You're an investor.
Yes.
So when did you become an investor? And what kind of,
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to tell your personal investments here, but like, what kind of investments? Do you have anything that you wish you bought, wish you didn't buy, as we all do?
Yeah.
But did you ever have a really big loss?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Um.
fill me in.
Again, I am very much a Tesla bull, so I do have a lot of Tesla stock. It is a majority of my portfolio.
So, what got you
Um,
interested in Tesla from the
I'll,
bat?
I'll touch on that, and also, again, this is not financial advice. This is opinion.
Yeah, no financial advice.
No.
We are not sponsored by. Well, he's not sponsored by anything here for the show. We got some help.
You have
Got a little bit.
You got
Yep.
Series 7. Oh, you do that kind of stuff.
I mean, in finance, yeah, I have my Series 7, but I mean sponsored like
I
by other
Yes,
entities at the moment here.
Yes.
Try to, when we do the interviews, I don't want to have any sponsors. I
of course.
genuinely enjoy the other person that I'm conversing with.
Thank you.
So yeah,
But anywho, I started buying Tesla stock like 10 years ago.
so it's been a while.
Yes.
So you bought it when it was good.
Yes, and I still buy it today
Mhm.
because I do believe in the future of the company. I could honestly give you a full blown podcast about it, but we'll refrain from that. It was. I can't remember exactly how this happened, but like, when the company was up and coming, right?
Mhm.
My father and I, we both started buying the stock in like 2016, and he was like, "You should watch this, like, what's it called? Like this documentary." So we sat down and we watched this documentary. And the documentary, for anyone that wants to watch it, it's fascinating. Okay, it's pretty old though. It's literally a 20-year-old documentary.
What's
This
the
thing was
name?
made in, I believe, 2006 or 2009. It's called "Who Killed the Electric Car."
I've never heard of it.
I suggest you watch it. It's really cool. This is what got me into this. This
Okay.
was like the aha click like moment for me, because in this documentary they discuss a lot of really cool stuff that like I had no idea about. Like,
Didn't
Yeah.
Pontiac have the one
no,
of the
it was,
first?
It was General Motors.
It was General Motors. That's right. They had that
General
weird
Motors,
looking.
Yeah, it looked like an egg. Kind
Yes,
of thing. It was like
yes.
a Honda Insight looking
Mhm.
car. It was called the EV1. They made a bunch of them. They only leased them to people.
So they
This-
weren't for purchase.
No, and even like Tom Hanks, Jennifer Aniston, they're in the expose because they had one.
Okay.
And like they don't talk in it, but they're pictured with their cars and stuff like that, and they loved them. And essentially, this is like the big like crazy thing is that there were other car companies, right? Like California in the early 2000s, late 90s mandated that like in order for you to sell your cars here, you got to offer an EV. And this is like before EVs were a thing. This is before Tesla was Tesla. Because at the time they only really had like the Roadster,
Mhm.
which is
Which is
like
crazy
100 It
expensive.
was $120,000 sports car.
Yeah, back then.
that was like a play toy for the rich people, right?
Well, to also
but
let
it
me
worked.
let me throw this in there to the
Yeah.
people that don't know. There is one in orbit around Earth,
Well, yeah.
and people don't know that. Can you tell them about that?
Really?
Yeah, I mean, how many people really know that there is-
shot one into space? Apparently, so
Yeah, and there's just one floating around in orbit, right?
Gone, essentially.
Okay. Does its headlight still work? Is that how you see it?
Probably not. That thing's probably like eaten by the sun by now. Like
There's no
radiation-wise.
solar panels on it, correct?
No,
It's
what
just
do you-
straight battery. Listen, I'm trying to. I know perfectly, but I'm trying to explain it to other
There's a
people.
video you can watch it. They shot one on a SpaceX rocket into orbit or whatever. It's pretty
Okay.
cool. Anywho, back to this documentary. To give you the meat and potatoes, right? You had to offer an EV in Cali in order to sell cars, whatever. So like General Motors was like, okay, we're gonna do something different. We got this car. It's called the EV1. It's a little egg-shaped thing. It only had like 90 miles of range. It was pretty quick at the time. It had like good 0 to 60. It was like a plucky little car. It had like a bunch of, I think they were like lead acid batteries even too,
Mhm.
like in the floor of the car or whatever. And it was like a big T-shaped thing in the floor because they talk about in the document how it's built and stuff. And it was front wheel drive. And you plug it in, it's like a slow charger, like a 110 in your garage or whatever, and it would plug into the front of the vehicle. And it's funny because I actually remember seeing these cars as a kid. My father worked for IBM for a long time, and we would go on business trips with him for the summer in California. And I remember seeing them actually like plugged in and stuff. Like this is early, so I've seen this car in person. So to then find out what happened to it was crazy. General Motors scratched the whole project. They canned the whole thing. They took all the cars back from people. There were protests and stuff because people really liked the car and they wanted to buy it. And GM said no. So they took all these little electric cars they made and they squashed them and threw them in a landfill in the desert. I'm not kidding.
So what happened? So all the leases they broke.
Well, the lease was up. They're like, we're taking it
Oh,
back.
okay, so they waited till the lease
Yeah,
was
yeah.
up. Okay, it wasn't just
From my
like, hey,
understanding.
at this date and time, we're going to steal
like,
everyone's
they
car.
just took them all back at the end. People were like, no, I want to buy it. They raised, I think, like there's a group of people that raised a couple million to like buy the cars. And they're like, please, General Motors, let's keep it. We think this technology is really cool. General Motors was like, nah. No.
Hmm.
They took them back. They squashed them. There's only 3 or 4 that exist, and they've all been decommissioned. They don't work anymore. There's one in the Smithsonian. I've seen that one. There's one in a private collection in California. I've also seen that one. And there's another one sitting in a college campus in Ohio, which I have not seen that one. The cars have no motors, no batteries.
They just sit there.
They've hooked like 12 volt. Like, so these places that have them, they've hooked 12 volts to them to like make the dash light up and stuff. Cause it's all like very like retro future, like, but the bar.
Yeah,
graph
like a
kind of thing.
300Z or an S2000.
Exactly. And they squashed all this stuff, and people were like, why? And in the documentary, they talk about it. If you take apart that car, the running gear in that car, it takes up maybe like a beer pong table, like a party table. You take apart the running gear in like the Mustang that we have, all that stuff that makes it work, and it takes up a massive amount of space, and there's a lot of components that can go wrong and you have to fix, and you make money on the parts.
Of course.
Also, there's big oil, not to mention, they talk about this in the documentary, big oil, governments, like there's all these things that killed this project. And then now here we are, fast forward 20 years later, and the Model Y is the best-selling car on the face of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the main thing that got me interested in Tesla was the fact that as a company, it's like they kind of spat in the face of the status quo, and we're like, nah, we're just gonna go for it. And
Well, you have to be the outlier and just do it.
And I think that I have a lot of respect for that, and I think it's really freaking cool. So that's what got me into it. And then once I started understanding the fundamentals of like disruptive industries and like replacing things and stuff like that, like, you know, I always talk about like the self-driving stuff. You know, because I do own a Tesla, and it does have self-driving, and I don't really drive it anymore.
Oh,
like,
I know.
I just sit there and babysit, and you've seen it.
It's the craziest thing to just sit there and let it take you everywhere you want, just chauffeur you everywhere.
All I'll say is that like I think that technology stands to do to the transportation industry what Amazon did to Toys R Us and Kmart. I think it will.
And I miss Toys R Us and Kmart though.
I do too.
You know,
but I'd rather park my money personally somewhere where I think that there's huge disruption to be had. So that's why I think that that's what got me into looking at that company as an investment, and why I park my money there. I think it's
so there's been so many companies that have come out. You know the names of a lot of these electrical car companies.
Yes.
What makes your investment in the company that you like better than having an investment in those companies?
When you look at the fundamentals, I mean, they make a lot of money. Lucid loses a lot of money per car. Rivian loses a lot of money per car. And then BYD in China, quality is like profits are okay, but they're very thin compared to Tesla.
Okay. Yeah, because I've never really understood the whole electric car thing.
Yeah.
So I don't want to get into it as it ends up becoming a political conversation at some point. But being in your car and now having a few friends that have those cars as well, and especially here in Florida, you just see them everywhere. I mean, like every third car is a Tesla.
It's one of the biggest markets.
Yeah, there's got to be a benefit for it. And I think the interiors on those cars and even the outsides look really, really, really slick now compared to obviously earlier models. So I'm assuming that's there's more to it than what the car looks like and how it drives. But if people are buying them, then obviously the stock is going up. So with that being said, there's things like Bitcoin and Ethereum and all these other unregulated. I think that they're still unregulated, right? I believe they're unregulated.
Not sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with they are. I don't want to say 100%, but I'm pretty sure that they're unregulated.
I do believe in that too. I own a little bit, but not like a lot. Like it's.
You wish you would have bought more?
Of course.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in college, I'm looking at the Bitcoin, and it was like, I don't know, like $1,700. I'm like, that's a lot of money. And now it's like $100,000 a Bitcoin. Well, I remember it was in like high school, it was like $70 a Bitcoin. And I'm like, man.
Well, do you remember when we were at work, you're like, dude, we can just split one. It's $15,000. And I'm like, I'm not spending $7,000 on a unregulated Bitcoin. Like, it's theoretical money. It's not even real, And, then it did go to $100,000, or I don't even know if it's still there. I don't follow it.
It's like at like 70 something now.
Okay, but even 70 something, if we would have put $7,000 into it each, we would have been, almost $40,000 each.
I don't have that
just
much.
on it. But I mean, I have friends that used to mine Bitcoin.
I remember when that was a thing too. You could like use your PlayStation 3 as
Yeah,
like
well,
a
I
way
mean,
of
like
buying it at one point.
I
Yeah.
had friends that were a little bit wealthier that they lived in the nicer part of town that had nice computers and whatnot, and they would have a dedicated
Mm,
computer to mining Bitcoin. And I didn't know what the heck it was. I don't even know what it means now,
yeah.
mining Bitcoin. I'm literally thinking like a guy going into a well and with like a pickaxe and like getting uranium out of the ground, which this stuff is worth more than uranium
Yeah.
at this point. But yeah, it's just weird to think that it was so cheap back then,
hmm
and now it's just worth so much.
Physical assets are worth a lot now too. Have you seen like the price of gold is like
Yeah,
5,000 an
silver,
ounce as of this
platinum.
recording, and silver is hovering around $80 per ounce.
Well,
It's
the
just
commodities,
yeah.
it's always going to be commodities. If we get to the end of the world, let's say we get to the end of the world, it doesn't matter how much money you have. You know what you're going to use that money for. It's going to be
Yeah.
for one of my questions that I'm going to ask you in the future. What you're going to use that money for. But
Okay.
but you'll find out. We'll go back to it. You'll understand.
All right.
But in the end, commodities are really all that are left. It's going to be gold, silver. If there's ever like complete destruction, like defaulting of the economy, it's something that you can hold
Mhm.
physically in your hand that people are going to care, because the green in your pocket isn't going to mean anything. And
You gotta
especially,
park it somewhere.
exactly. And nobody
It's a
even
belief
carries
that I
money
have.
anymore.
I have a little. I carry a little.
Well, I
bit
always
just in
carry money
case.
just in case, but it's all credit cards.
Yeah.
It's all credit cards. And
That's one thing that kind of you should ask my wife if you're going to interview her later. Is like in her country, cash you use all the time, and credit cards are kind of like a seldom thing. And here it's the opposite. It's like you just freaking throw plastic everywhere.
it also leaves a paper trail.
Yeah.
Cash
Doesn't.
doesn't leave a paper trail.
Yeah. Facebook Marketplace is just.
Yep, there's a lot of people that obviously believe more in cash, but
Yeah.
it's very, very convenient to have credit card.
Of course.
I can go to the beach and I can go in the water with my credit card on me.
Yeah.
And if I lose it, it's like, hey, by
me
the
get
way, yeah, let me get another card. Oh yeah, can you
Yeah.
expedite it for here for
Yeah.
tomorrow? As to where if I lose my cash, I remember I went free diving one time. I was in like 30 feet of water and I see this thing moving in the sand. So I went all the way down. I went to go touch it. $50 bill. I was like, that's a great day at the beach.
Wow.
In-
You should have bought a lotto ticket
In Florida, that's a day of parking
Oh, yeah.
and a burger compared to
Trip
before
to
COVID.
Flanagan's.
Yeah, exactly. Which they're really good. But yeah, I think that people don't look at it in that same way either.
Yeah.
The credit card is just much easier to use than any of that stuff. So I kind of ask you my financial question. I know that you were invested in something, and obviously you have a passion for that.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing, and we will have conversation in the future. I will have you back if you want.
Be good.
We can have a whole episode just about finance and what's wrong with the way the world works with teaching kids about finances,
Yeah.
and then what it would do if they did learn about it, or just our generation in general of how much better off technically we are because of knowing these little things.
I have my father to thank for that
Why do you have your father to thank for that?
because he's the one that kind of taught me how to be financially smart.
So your father
Yeah.
taught you that in that sense. So is he the one that got you into Tesla?
I mean, at the beginning, yeah, we sat down and watched this documentary. I remember, and it was like,
Was it like
okay,
a light bulb?
kind of like I
Or
was
he
like,
already had like a notion for it?
kind of both.
So he
It's
was
kinda
he was new to it, because I mean I know your dad,
Well, this is
so I'm trying to
this
think
is
of like the
when-
moment that it happened.
So this is around the time the aha moment was around the time that we started looking at replacing their current cars, which was 2016.
10 years ago.
Yeah, it was 10 years ago. And it was like the Model 3 was on the horizon, and that was like the cheap, affordable car. It was the first time anyone ever did this,
Mhm.
because again, like Tesla started off at like the peak of the market. Roadster, super expensive, super low volume. Model S, super low volume, expensive. X, same thing. And like, Elon lays out on the internet, like it's all public record. Like he has what he calls a master plan. And like, you can go find this. And he published it way back when. And he said, this is our plan. We're going to make like, super expensive sports car and then expensive luxury cars and stuff, and we're going to use the money we generate from this to fund
The future.
cheaper and cheaper cars. Yeah. So the Model 3 was coming out, and I remember my dad, they ordered the car before the car was unveiled, and I remember watching the unveiling, and I was like, this is so freaking cool.
Mhm.
And then it was before that we watched the documentary. So then I started, like, even though I'm such a gearhead and I'm such a car and a gas engine enthusiast, like, I always compare it, like a gas car is like listening to Frank Sinatra on like vinyl. Like
Mhm.
there's just something special
beautiful.
about the act of
Yep.
doing that and appreciating that. But like driving the Tesla or having the Tesla drive itself, essentially with you babysitting it, to me is like having Spotify.
It's just the
It's just
convenience.
convenient and better, in my opinion, you know?
Yeah, it's just the convenience.
So yeah, like learning about all that and seeing that, I'm like, okay, this makes sense. You know, this is kind of where I want to park some cash, you know, and then it grew from there. And there have been times, like you asked, what was like the worst I think you said something about one of the worst mistake.
Yeah, worst mistakes for
Right.
it.
My personal advice, and again, this is not financial advice. This is an opinion.
It will never be financial
I
advice.
can't give you. I'm not authorized for that. But, and this is true with many things in life. Don't get greedy. So like, I have been burned by using margin in my investment account. And there have been times where I, just for my own sanity and safety, I've had to bail from a position and lose on that position because I used margin. So now I am very much out of, like, I don't use margin. And if I do, it's a tiny percent, like a couple grand, like less than 5, because
Yeah, once that margin call comes.
yeah, you don't want to get called. You'll lose your shirt. You know,
Yeah.
it's not smart. So for me personally, like, I don't really believe in using margin anymore. I try to keep everything cash, you know, where it's like, it's just parked there and it's just going to sit. I don't mess with options or any of that stuff. Like, you know, I don't try to day trade or swing trade. I don't think I'm smart enough for that. Maybe if I really have a lot of free time,
There's
I
a lot
could
of
be.
luck in it too.
That's what I'm saying.
You know,
So
there's a lot
like,
of luck. Because I mean, if you
yeah.
look at a lot, again, I don't want to keep going on the finance aspect of it because there's a lot of people that don't understand it. But if you look at stocks like Sundial that went crazy, there was
right now-
GameStop that went crazy.
Right now it's SanDisk.
Is SanDisk?
SanDisk. Like
Thank
the
God I
memory
bought all of
cards.
my
No, it
cards
went from like $20 to $700. It's like 700. Like, you could check right now, it's like $700.
for a card.
No, per share.
Oh, per
The
share.
company, yeah, it went
I
from
did not know that.
$20 to $700.
Well, I saw the cost of the cards because I have, you know, high terabyte.
Oh, yeah,
I have,
no, and that's like-
cards,
that's gone
and
up a
they're
lot, yeah.
they've gotten exponentially more expensive.
yeah.
So I want to veer away from the
Sure.
finance for a little bit, but still deal with something that is very, very precious, probably the most precious thing you can possibly think of. And you're probably thinking about it too.
Yeah.
So your wife is from the Philippines. How did you meet her?
So, I actually met her online. Yeah.
Okay, so that was the beginning of the relationship, and
Yes.
then obviously I want to know how it progressed to the place that you're at, because it is a love story, to say the absolute least. I think a book could be written about it. You know, most people can't stand to be away from someone. A long distance relationship is someone these days who lives, you know, 2 to 5 miles away from you. The proximity is too far for them. Yet you went totally around the entire world for someone.
Literally other side of planet.
Yep.
Yes.
So how did you come to meet her?
So, to give you a little bit of backstory, I got really tired of the struggle of dating here in South Florida.
As many people are.
So, I didn't initially want to do something long distance, just because, quite frankly, I did have a previous relationship with someone on the other side of the country. At least it wasn't a different country, and it was difficult. So I knew how difficult it was, but in getting to know my lovely wife, now she's my wife, you know, she ticked all the boxes, so to speak. And I thought long and hard about it, and, you know, considered things and did a lot of soul searching. But I thought to myself, well, like, who am I to say that this is not my person? If, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of like, well, if it's there, right? Like, if this is the person that ticks the boxes, that is what you are seeking, why should you say no or let the distance be a limiting factor, right? And I know it's hard, right? We both know, like, it's a difficult thing to go through, but
It is.
I thought to myself, I'm like, what I'm gonna waste my time with people that don't appreciate me and aren't what I'm looking for and whatever. Like, I'd rather, if this is the person, I would rather go all in with the right person. You know.
So you met online, essentially.
We met online. You know, I had at a certain point, after a very not so good relationship, you know, you end up downloading the gambit of dating apps, you know, like Tinder, Hinge, all that Bumble, whatever. We actually met on OkCupid because I set my filter to like international, where it's just like globe.
I didn't even know you
Yeah,
could do
you can
that.
do
I thought
that.
it was just
No.
proximity.
It was
on these
proximity, but
apps.
there's also that, at least OkCupid at the time, I don't know if it still has it, had a thing where you can hit like global essentially, and you get
Really?
everyone. Yeah.
Okay.
So we met on there, and we talked for months, and then it just kind of progressed into us being like mutually exclusive from afar.
Mhm.
You know, and we would talk every morning and every evening because we had a 12-hour time
Yeah,
difference.
I was going to say the time
You
difference is
remember
like
that,
you're
you know?
when
I would
you're
wake-
going
yeah.
to sleep, she's waking up, and when you're
Literally.
waking up, she's going to sleep.
Yeah.
And that's got to have been tough too, because you had to make an exact time that you would be able to have this like
Yeah.
margin, like a very small margin of time to have your whole technical day life conversation.
Yeah.
And it's at the worst time too, because it's like right in the middle of the night and then right in the middle of the morning.
Yeah.
So
Many mornings many mornings spent playing Fortnite with her,
Which-
and like
that's why kind of
Animal
video games
Crossing
are
and
cool
stuff,
that you
yeah.
can do things like that.
And we
that you
would
can
watch
talk to anybody
movies
in the
and,
world
you know,
with it.
yeah.
So tell me how that works. So you would watch movies with
Yeah.
each other?
So we'd go on a Skeevy website where we get to watch it with a stupid amount of pop-ups and stuff, and you have to like click through the pop-ups, you know, like no, I don't want like some stupid gambling thing, and I know I don't want the weird sexual game. Get out of here! Like stupid things would come your way, right? And you once you bypass, I know you got the movie for free.
Oh, okay.
So we would use that because like I learned very quickly like Disney Plus blocks, like there were certain browser like Firefox would work and then it didn't. Like
Oh, it
you
would
could-
catch on.
Yeah, like it would know if you're sharing your screen. So like we would use Discord and we would have a call on Discord and I would share my screen or vice versa. And then like we learned real quick like okay, well Disney Plus doesn't work. So, yeah. And then we would use, Skeevy website to watch.
I like how you say skeevy website.
or like Skeevy anime website, and we would watch shows.
Well, you
movies
used to
and
watch
stuff
like
that.
Star Wars together. I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
that.
So we would find
Like, oh, me and
whatever.
Lori are watching Star Wars, and I'm like,
Yeah, we watched all the Star Wars movies. I mean, I had never seen Interstellar, and I know you love that movie. That's like her favorite movie.
yeah,
yeah.
I watched it
So we
2 days
watched
ago,
that,
and so
and it was
20 times in now, 20
so
times,
good.
and every time I watch that movie, I see something different.
That's the beauty.
Every
of
single
it.
time.
It's like Inception. It's just like
Yeah.
these movies. Once you watch, it's so good. Like that's
such
how
a
you
great
know it's a
movie.
good movie is if you rewatch and you're like, oh, look at that little detail.
Well, because
in
you
the
pay
back.
more attention
Yeah.
to it,
Yeah.
especially when you watch it that many times
Of
and you're
course.
not bored of it yet.
Yeah.
So, I mean, speaking in the same manner, obviously you had spoken a whole bunch of times,
Yeah.
you'd conversed a whole bunch of times. You obviously weren't bored of her. She wasn't
course.
bored of you. So how did it progress from there?
So I'm gonna backtrack slightly, just because in my search for a partner and like becoming a better version of myself, I saw this guy's like dating coaching videos popped up in my YouTube algorithm, and I
Mhm.
started watching his stuff and I was like, it's pretty good. So I bought his book, and it's called How to Be a 3% Man
Mhm.
by the guy's name is Corey Wayne. So I read the book, and he says I have it. I'm trying to reread it because he says that you got to read his book 15 times to actually really ingrain.
Well, it's the same as like watching the movie.
Yeah,
It just
yeah.
takes a lot longer to read
yeah,
the book.
of course. So he says you got to read my book 15 times. Whatever. I haven't read it. I'm sorry, Corey. I have not read your book 15 times. I've read it like twice.
But it worked
So-
twice.
Well, again, there's an exercise. I think there's an exercise in his book, if I'm not mistaken, where you make like a list of like qualities you're looking for in a partner.
Mhm.
And I actually did that exercise, and I stuck it in the back of the book. And then getting to know my lovely wife was like a 2x4 in the head, where I'm like, well, I'll be damned. Like she ticks the stuff that, like the things I put on the like that's her. Like this is crazy. So I'm like, who am I to say no? So
Mhm.
then it kind of flowered from there. We started spending all sorts of time together and chatting back and forth, and playing Fortnite, watching movies, this and that. And, like we're creating this like best friendship, romance across the planet. And it's like every morning I would wake up and she's the first person I would message, because I want to know how she's doing, what she's doing. And then same thing goes for her. Like I would get home from work, and at some point my phone would go, "Ba-boom," and it's her, getting up in the morning. And then I would, we would make time for each other. And we did this for, oh my God, like what, 2 years?
Yeah, it was a long time because I remember us all saying, "When are we going to meet her? When
Yeah.
are we going to meet
It was
her?"
like 2.
Well, you also
2,
wanted to do it
2.5, 3.
legally.
That
You
too.
know, that
I
was like a
wasn't-
big aspect
I
of
was
it.
I wasn't about to stick her on a boat. So, I mean, how would you even do that from the Philippines, right? Like Like you got to go on a boat somewhere, and then from there go to like Nicaragua, and like Nicaragua to Mexico, to then come across the Mexican border. Like that's crazy. Like
Yeah.
I mean, people are like, well, why don't you just smuggle her in? And I'm like, cause my wife is adorable, and I don't want her to get freaking trafficked and be
Yeah.
sold to some creep somewhere as a sex slave. Like, so we had to do it the right way, which we did, and it took a year and a half after us getting married. No, a year and 8 months. Sorry,
Yeah.
a year and
long
eight
time.
months from us getting married in the Philippines to her being here.
Yeah. Very long time. I remember.
Yeah.
It was always,
So,
when are we going to meet Lori? When are we
I
going to meet
know.
Lori? And I would like count down. I remember saying, oh, it's like like a
Yeah.
year and a half left, a year and
Yeah.
3 months left. And then even after that year and 3 months, it was like, oh, it'll be next month. Oh, it'll be next month. So it had to be really tiresome for you and like exhausting in that
It was
sense
hard.
to know that the person that you love is not at your fingertips.
Yeah.
Because, for me, if I have a significant other, I know that if they're not feeling well, you want to
Yeah.
be there for them.
Yeah.
But you couldn't physically be there. And it's very different when it's electronical. You keep your phone next to you and it's like, hey, baby, I hope you feel okay. Like, what can I do? But you really can't do anything.
I know.
But in that aspect, how much did you spend sending flowers that were way too expensive to her in a different country?
Not that much, actually.
But you used to send her stuff.
Of course.
Yeah. So,
But this is the beauty of the Philippines. They do a lot of stuff on Facebook.
okay.
So I literally looked up where she lived, like a local florist on
Mhm.
Facebook. And I'm like, hi po. Magandang umaga. Can I please order these flowers and have them delivered to my wife? This is her address. How much is it? Oh, we have these packages. Da, da, da. Again, like, in my opinion, traveling to the Philippines is like traveling to Asia on easy mode. Like, the country is beautiful. The people, for the most part, are super friendly. And, like, most people speak English.
So you can get away there even if
It's
you don't
awesome.
know the culture.
It's awesome. So, like, I'm literally messaging this person that runs a florist shop. Like, I think it might have been even out of their home or whatever on Facebook. And I'm just like, I'm sitting here orchestrating this stuff, and they would get back to me. Of course, it's like 12 hours later because of the time difference.
And trying to keep it a secret.
And I would pay through PayPal. And I would send them the money through PayPal, and then they would send me a picture confirmation of Lori holding the flowers.
Oh, wow.
And it was
that's
amazing.
awesome.
And like, you could get 24 roses for like $20 with the wrapping and
not
a
here.
balloon and like everything.
Not here.
Well, if you have a Costco membership, it's like what, like $19 for but it's not as
But they're not the
nice to
same kind of
presenting.
roses.
No,
The
but I mean-
presentation isn't there.
No, but these guys did like a whole presentation. Things wrap, a little bourbon, card, balloon. They would throw in chocolates if you wanted, and like it was super nice, like mom and pop shop. And it's funny because I actually met the florist woman in person.
When you went there.
Yeah, because I needed a bouquet for like our wedding, photos and stuff like that when we got married. So I was like, oh my god, hi, thank you so much for all the times I've ordered flowers from you. So it was really cool to like actually meet them in person. But yeah, like it was super easy to do this and do things for her because of Facebook.
So when you
And
went
how
there, was
everyone
it,
uses Facebook over
well, was
there
it a
for-
culture shock when you went there?
Oh yeah,
Like, because I've never been there.
Yeah.
I'm not much of a traveler.
yeah.
But like, I've been to Italy and a couple of other places. But to be somewhere where
Yeah.
it's not a normal destination that somebody's like, oh, I want to go to the Philippines,
Well, like for
Uh,
me, it was a culture shock. Not that like I live under a rock. Like I know what the Philippines is like. You see it in TV shows, films, and
Well, it
stuff
looks
like that.
beautiful.
It's beautiful, but like you see the cities and like things are like tightly packed, and they have like giant semi truck and then tuk tuk next to it. So like there's a size disparity, like the roads and stuff. Like it's not the same as the U.S., right?
Mhm.
And like I've never been outside the country before. Like I knew what to expect, but like when you actually are in it and you've never really traveled, which I think now, like one thing I could advise someone on is definitely like you gotta travel. You gotta see other countries. It helps you. How can I put this?
It gives you perspective.
Yes, that's exactly it gives you perspective. Like you appreciate other cultures, you appreciate certain things at home that you have, you appreciate certain things that they have that you don't have.
Mhm.
I could, again, this would be like even a separate episode, but I mean I could tell you about how like the sense of community and like kids running around, like there's way less kids like with their face buried in a freaking iPad, and I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
You know,
They have more discipline.
Yeah,
They took more
it's not
karate
even-
classes.
Not even the discipline thing.
Just
It's just
kidding.
like kids run around over there and play like kids over here played in like the 90s,
Mhm.
like it's
It was, let's go
There's
to our friend's house where the
yeah.
bikes are piled up on the front lawn.
yeah. And like, honey, is it every night the night market? Yeah, her city, they shut down the freaking street and the main thoroughfare through the city where like the old city hall is, which they have like a museum and there's like I think it's like a library, right? Yeah, there's like a library and stuff. Cool, really cool. they shut down the whole street and they have like a freaking night market thing with stalls. You can go get like lumpia, shomai. You can go get some knockoff freaking Crocs over there from these other people. They have like whatever you could think of is for sale on the street, and it's this really cool like thing. Like the whole town is there, and this is like every night. I'm like, you can't find that in South Florida.
And
Sure,
if you do,
got a
usually there's a
bougie-
problem.
You got a bougie little like farmers market here and there, but it's not the same. Like
No, it's just they throw up
there's, like,
some tents
huge-
and then that's it.
it's a huge sense of like community within her city, and it's a beautiful thing in my opinion, and we lack that now in our society here.
Yeah.
Everyone's got no time because you got to go to work, whatever. Anyway, that's a tangent, but
So
the culture shock, right?
yeah.
The culture shock. So I will never forget this as long as I live. Like I pick her, she picks me up at the airport with a taxi, and her friend is there to record, and we hop in the taxi, and the first big culture shock is, honey, where's my seatbelt? She's like,
Seatbelt.
what do you mean seatbelt? Why would you wear a seatbelt? I'm like, honey, I need a seatbelt. I'm in the car. No. What? Huh? So like customary there, like if you're in a car and you're in the back, you're like not really wearing a seatbelt. And we're essentially in like a Toyota Corolla. It's a Toyota Vios is what it's called. And it's like essentially the same as a Corolla. And we're sitting in the back, there's no seatbelts. And I mean, the rate of travel there, even on the open, like the big roads, like you're not going as fast as here. Like here, you're going 95 on the 95.
You're going Tesla fast.
You're flying. You're flying over here. Over there, you're not going as fast. You're maybe going 50 something miles an hour.
Mhm.
So it's not as big of a thing. But that led me into then like I'm looking out the windows and I'm just looking at everything because there's so much to look at. And it's so different. Like
It's that culture shock.
yeah, that was the culture shock for me of like, I'm actually in this. I'm doing this. This is amazing. This is so freaking cool. This is crazy.
How
Like,
long did it take you to get there? And you had like
Oh,
multiple
God.
flights, right?
Oh god.
And layovers constantly. I remember that.
Because I try to, when I do this, I try to maximize my time off from work because,
You
take
got to
some
get
time
back
off
to
from-
work.
Yeah, I mean, you want to maximize the time you spend on
Mhm.
vacation, at least in my opinion, and it does make for a very rough trip. But I'll do it. I don't know how many times for you. You're worth it. So, yeah, it's like 26 hours in airports and planes.
Oof.
So it's MIA to LAX or SFO. The first time I went through SFO. So MIA to Cali, and then Cali to Manila, and then Manila to Davao, and then taxi ride to her city.
So you're everywhere.
The taxi ride is like 45 minutes. The flight from Manila to Davao is really short, but then you have this layover. Like MIA to LAX is like what, 5.5 hours,
Okay.
5 hours, and then the one to Manila is rough. It's like 12 hours.
Yeah.
You
To be
know,
honest, I remember when I
And
went
then
to
you
Italy.
have
It
a
takes a long
gap.
time to
You
get
have a
somewhere.
gap because like you have to. You can't just pick. There's not that many flights, and the flights leave at night typically, right? They have like one a day essentially. And there's sometimes two a day out of LAX, but it's like, yeah, you're gonna have a couple hours there. So you've now done 5 hours, and then you have a couple hours gap between the next flight, and then you have to get on that plane, and then there's 12 hours, and then I think I sat around at the airport for a couple hours before then boarding the flight from to Davao, and it was a lot. Like I added it up, it was like 26 hours in planes and airports.
Wow.
And the second time I went, I got hit with the flu.
Oh.
And we both were like,
It's a story and a half.
You can check our Instagram that we have together.
Which you
of,
can
like,
plug
what
it right
happened.
now. What's your
Yeah,
Instagram?
it's Chris and Lori.
Chris and Lori?
Right? It's Chris and Lori? I'm about to say, I'm like, if I don't know our own Instagram, I'm
Yeah,
like an idiot.
for everybody that
But
wants
Chris
to
and
see.
Lori on Instagram. Yeah, like we made a video. Well, my wife made a video about it because she's a phenomenal video editor.
So how would you spell it? Chris and the and sign Lori, or Chris and
like, spelled
Lori?
out, and Lori is Lorie.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for viewers to check it out.
we got slapped with the flu second time going over there.
Oh,
and then she
especially
got it, and we're
overseas
both
to have
sick.
that.
So yeah,
And you ended up in a hospital, right?
It wasn't a hospital; it was like a clinic.
A clinic?
They prescribed me Tamiflu, and I proceeded to leave it in the freaking Uber, which they call Grab over. They have the same thing. It's like an Uber.
And then the guy was nice enough to bring it
Thank
back to you,
God.
which
Oh
is
my
not an
God.
American normal thing. It
Yeah.
would be like, I have to go to my next stop and just throw your stuff out the window.
Yeah, so I tipped him very handsomely because
Very
I'm
nice.
like, you have saved our lives, sir. Thank you, Kuya.
Yeah, especially when you go that far
Yeah.
away to be sick.
Yeah.
It wastes, it ruins your time. But
did,
you were
it
spending it
ruined-
with someone that you love.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, she was sick too. So you
Yeah,
guys
no
were
bueno.
together, even though it
bueno.
wasn't on optimal conditions.
Yeah.
So
But,
well, all right. Well, I'm glad to hear that everything worked out in that sense.
But
She
yeah.
is here now. You are happy.
Mhm.
She's wonderful, like I had said. And I'm glad that it worked out like that because it's a love story for
Yeah.
the ages.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that we can get to the whole story out of it. But
Again,
it's
it's
a
like
long time in the making.
there's so much to tell. We could have a separate episode on just
Yeah.
this.
On just love, right?
Love, our whole experience together with doing the long distance and how we made it work and all that. I mean, that's a whole separate conversation. I could talk to you for an hour about that.
Another time. How's
Another
that?
time.
All right, we'll take it. My mind can't fathom how you live your life like that when we try so hard and like just barely make it.
I know.
It's kind of hard to not get hit by a car when you're crossing the street. But these people play Frogger with their life and they just like, again, unscathed. So
Yep.
it's just interesting to me. I would love to.
It's like Mr. Magoo.
Yes.
You remember Mr. Magoo?
Yeah, of course. I would love to have more perspective on that.
It's like he's walking through the construction zone. He can't see anything.
And everything
he walks
is just-
into the pipe. The pipe goes like this. He comes down the scaffold. He goes down and it's
Yep.
like you're dodging all the hazards.
Yep.
And it's like that's how you're going through your life right now, not knowing how to do basic math or read a clock or whatever. It's just kind of crazy to me. Like
I mean, with
Anywho.
that being said, on the
But-
same note,
yeah.
do you feel that even though that people live in this bubble, this Mr. Magoo state, and they have made it, do you feel that if you put way less effort into your life, you would still be at the same stature, or do you feel like you would, because like I said, ignorance
Oh my
is bliss.
God.
So if you put less effort and enthusiasm into your life, do you think that you'd be in a better place, in the same place, or in a worse place?
I love that you asked me that because I say something to my mom sometimes, and I'm like, when I'm stressed or having a bad day or whatever, and I'm talking to her about it, I'm like, man, sometimes I envy people that are just not smart. Because like I feel like if
And they
I
don't stay
was-
up at night and
if I-
worry.
Yeah, if I was dumb, I wouldn't be worrying about any of this stuff. If I was like a goldfish, no,
Yeah.
I mean not literally, but like you know what I'm saying, like
Yeah.
because I care, like I give a damn, like I'm trying to invest for the future. I want to make sure my kids aren't like bum. I mean, I don't have kids yet, but you think like, okay, I gotta generate wealth to like try to leave them with something. You want to make sure your kids are better off than you are if you're gonna have kids, right? So like you gotta think about those things, like and like a lot of people don't, and they just
Pop out.
yeah, but like that's like a side note, but like you get what I'm saying, like I feel like sometimes it's like I'm too smart for my own good. I'm not sitting here trying to toot my own horn, but like I wouldn't be so anxious about the future or about my investment portfolio or about my job or about this or that if I was an idiot.
Well, did you ever see the movie Idiocracy?
I know about it. I've seen so many clips, and sadly, I haven't watched the whole thing.
Yeah, I was
think
telling
she and I need to watch it.
I was
and, like,
telling Josh and Nikki
yeah.
last night about it.
it's where the Crocs came from,
It is where the Crocs came from, right?
Yeah.
So there's I mean, just to give you a little bit of perspective on the movie, they're two. One's a army guy, the other one's a prostitute, and
gets, like, frozen.
they're big
That's part of,
actors, and they get in a military experiment, and they
Yeah.
get frozen, and instead of 1 year, they get frozen for 500 years.
And-
And now it's like
Yeah.
the age of the garbage, where there's like garbage everywhere. And the thing is that everybody,
like Costco runs the government.
yes, Costco is
I know,
like
yeah,
the whole thing,
yeah.
like, and like the president is Terry Crews,
Yeah,
and
I
he's
know.
like
He's
Mr.
like an
Macho,
idiot,
like
yeah.
a wrestling guy. And so the guy and the girl, they're the smartest people on earth. And it's comical because it's almost the perception of what's happening to the world these days.
Oh no, it is.
Like, I was saying it to Josh last night. I said, when you were younger, or even let's say 50 years ago, 80 years ago, because I think 50 years ago would have been a really cool time to be born. Maybe even more than that, maybe like 60
Like
years
the
ago.
70s or the
Yeah,
60s.
maybe. I think I would want to be 20 in like the 70s. I think it would be a cool era to be in. But what I'm trying to get at is you were born in this era, and it's just an era that's totally different of what's going on now.
You have some really cheap houses.
Yes, well, I mean, we can get to another question that
Sorry.
I'll pull up in the future. But like they get put into the future, they have tons of technology. Everything is like soda and bad things for you. All they do is watch stupidity. And getting back to what I was saying is that back in the day, 50, 80, 100 years ago, you used to look at professors as revered. You used to look at people like Einstein or, Martin Luther King. You used to look at these people over the ages that are just smart. They're people to look up to. There weren't as many actors. There weren't as many singers. That's just what was around. But the smart people were the people that you looked up to. Now, obviously everybody has YouTube and watches it and these shorts and everything. The stupider you are, the more video views you get, the more money you make.
Well, hopefully you get all the views
Well,
with this.
I mean, that would be
without
amazing.
Being,
Yeah, and I mean
Yeah.
that's my
that's what I'm praying for.
that's
here.
the
Yeah.
component of this show is I kind of want to give perspective on life so that people can see how others are living,
Mm.
and there's a bit of there's something missing in this world these
Oh, yeah.
days. Like I had said, and it's just I don't want to sound like rhetoric, but it is. It's the not giving your seat up to someone on the train or
Mhm.
the bus or whatever, to someone else that is in need of it, or holding the door open, which is the biggest component of I think this show where it started. But yeah, so the whole movie is premised off of like they're the smartest people in the world now. Everybody else is just a complete idiot.
Yeah.
But yet these people have made it that far. Like they're so dumb. They don't know anything. They don't know that, you can't fit a square in a circle hole.
Yeah,
And like all the doctors and everything, they're all just these stupid people.
Yeah.
But yet ignorance is bliss. So they've made it that far.
Yeah.
So it's just funny to watch it because I said it when the movie came out. I was like, this is what's going to happen in the future. And it is,
It's kind of scary.
yeah, but it's not
Everyone-
slowly getting there. It
Everyone's
seems to
got
be on
Crocs.
it seems, I don't mind the Crocs. They're comfortable, it's,
I refuse to buy it. There.
I mean, they're comfortable. What can I say?
I just think they're kind
um,
of goofy looking.
But it's progressing fairly quickly to that. And I think until people grasp it and realize that the opinion and views of everyone else are not your own, you're just absorbing these things
Yeah.
and not having your own mentality to say, I believe in this because it's my also opinion. Because I mean, you see so many people, and again, we'll never get into politics, who, they do all these protests and whatever. And then you ask them, oh, why are you protesting? And they say, you don't even know why you're there.
Yeah.
You just want a friend. You just want to fit in.
People,
And-
people lack critical thought now.
But a lot of people just want to fit in.
That
And I don't
too.
feel like people know where to fit in these days. And it's hard because when we didn't have social media and we didn't have phones and just access to each other so quickly, we did form better relationships. They're not false relationships. Don't get me wrong. They're not false. Like they're real. Obviously, they're tangible relationships, but they're not real like when we were young and when we had kids.
Yeah.
I read this whole article the other day, and it said that the reason that the people that you keep close to you in your life now
Mhm.
from being friends when you were like 5, 6 to 10 years old,
Yeah.
like the growing brain, is because your brain never experienced other things. So when you first made friends with those people and relationships with those people, that is the basis of everything else in the future that you've ever made a relationship from. So you
Okay.
can never have a friend that you make in the future that will ever mean as much to you as a friend that you had when early on. Now, granted,
interesting.
you're an amazing person. I love you.
Yeah.
You're one of my best friends.
Me too, man.
But like you and Josh have been friends for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
And I would never expect to be on, I guess, the same scale as that.
Mm.
But there is this aspect that because there is time behind it, your mind solidifies that friendship on a basis that was the basic starting point for what friendship was supposed to feel like. So if you
Interesting.
keep your friends from that young, from a youthful age
Yeah.
till now, like I have, one of mine passed away, but the 3 other ones that I do, it's very hard to compare someone else to them, even if they're not around all the time. They live in New
Huh.
York now. We have conversations here and there.
Yeah.
You and I spend a lot of time, our other friend, we spend a lot of time together. The proximity is not there, but you always have that formed attitude, I guess. I don't know. Like I said, the basic mental figure of friendship from the beginning.
I don't know, because like I mean, Josh is like my oldest friend essentially that I still have. I mean, we met as kids, but we weren't really close until later,
Mhm.
And then I have you, and we've known each other for
7 years.
7 years now. And then I have Ariel. Ariel I've known since like high school.
So
And
wow.
we got closer over college. And then I mean, like Mark I know from the karate school.
Mhm. So what is a belief you held strongly when you were younger that you no longer believe in now?
So when you're young, when you're kiddo, you look at adults and you're like, wow, they're an adult.
Like they've got it all together.
They got their life together. They know what to do. They're so responsible. And then you become an adult, and you're like, wow, adults are just giant kids just trying to figure their life out.
And they have no idea what they're doing.
Especially like with your parents and stuff, you kind of realize that. I mean, again, I'm not a parent yet, but I can kind of fathom that like when you become a parent, you're just kind of, there's part of it that's just kind of, you're kind of winging it.
Well, you're learning because when
Yeah.
you're a parent, you've never had kids
No.
before, so you have no idea what it's like to have kids.
You can emulate, I guess, based on your own experience as a kid, and if you've ever had to take care of kids before. But like,
well, you've taken care of kids
which-
in the karate school.
Oh yeah, I was like
But-
dad to like 40 kids at once sometimes. So I think I'm decently equipped for that. But it's like, you look at the world and stuff, and you're like, dang man, like I'm still trying to figure things out every day.
Well,
Like
you're just a big kid too.
thankfully I feel like I got my life together somewhat in a decent way, but like
Better than most people.
sadly, yes.
No, not sadly. It's true.
No, it's
you
sad.
you've got a good amount. You got a really good head on your shoulders,
Yeah.
and that comes from good parents. Also,
Thankfully.
comes from good parents. And
Yeah.
do you feel like this is just an extension question? Do you feel like it's nature versus nurture, or nurture versus nature?
I think
Like
it's
which one do
both.
you think it's a little bit of
I
both,
think it's
or a lot of bit of both?
And it can lean one way or the other. I think like sometimes it's more nature and sometimes it's more nurture.
Yeah,
you
I don't know. I kind of grew up in like my environment shaped me.
Yeah.
My parents did. Don't get me wrong, because they're great
course.
people. But I think I spent so much time out
Yeah.
that probably like you spend time with friends more than you do with your own family.
Sometimes. Yeah.
Their families and your friends end up molding you sometimes more than your own,
Oh yeah.
because you have genetics, and obviously it's going to be passed down in the
there's
gene
certain things
pool.
that are hereditary and
Yeah.
whatnot, like predisposition to
Yep.
acting a certain way. I mean, like I think a lot of that is I think it's taught, but I think it's also some of it's inherent.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel like as a kid, you look up to adults and stuff, and you're like, wow. And then you look
They've got it together.
you look at them through you find things out about certain. For example, there's certain things I can't divulge, but like certain people that maybe shape your childhood, stuff like that, and you look at them and then you learn things about them later, and you're like, wow, like that's interesting. And then you're like, this person isn't what I thought they were, or they don't have it together like you thought they did,
Or I don't
whatever.
respect you as much as anymore at all.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like it's like a shock, it's a
Mhm.
shock. But yeah, I feel like we're all just big old kids trying to figure it out to a certain degree, because some people are more developed than others. Some people didn't develop past 9, mentally sometimes, like,
That game of Frogger.
yeah, the Game of Frogger.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of a shock as you get
Okay.
older. You see this and you're like, damn.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
So,
And I think the older you get and the more wiser you become, the more you start to see it,
yeah.
because you're blind to it.
As a kid, you're blind to it.
You're very blind to it.
And the veil gets slowly pulled back.
Yeah, and it's not just your parents. If you really think about it, it's like every adult has it together.
Yeah.
I mean, you never put like homeless people into that category, but even homeless people, you don't really ever look at them as, situated in that sense. But they're still an adult. Like
Yeah.
they whether something bad happened to them or they made that choice for it to happen to them themselves. Just from being.
Drugs.
Yeah, who knows what it is? I mean,
whatever.
everybody
You
gets
never
into
know.
their own,
never
to
know.
each his own. My
Yeah.
favorite saying. I would never talk down or bad about anybody in that sense, because I want everyone to have a home and live a good life. But adults are just big kids.
Yeah.
So
crazy.
we have the same mentality on that. All right. What fear have you had to confront in your life that most people might not know about?
I deal with this pretty consistently, I would say, sadly. Um I have IBS, like undiagnosed, because I mean, like, how else would I deal with, like, what else would cause this, right?
So for viewers that don't know, even though like
Irritable bowel
like
syndrome.
90% of the country these days has some
Yeah.
kind of
I
like
feel like
anxious stomach.
Yeah, but like my stomach is very sensitive, and I feel like I've dealt with this as a kid, all throughout my life. Is like you get anxious, and sometimes it makes me go, like, physically, like I can't, like, sometimes it's so bad I physically can't hold it anymore. And to someone else, it sounds kind of crazy, but like, nah, man, like sometimes when I have to go, I gotta go, and like I have a fear of, well,
Going.
myself.
Yeah, I mean,
To
nobody
be
wants to.
blunt, to be blunt.
I
you
mean,
know,
you
especially,
haven't. You haven't, but
especially in situations where like you can't.
yeah.
So like being in the car, like I typically like to drive places and I like chauffeuring everyone else in the friend group because I have that ease in the back of my mind where I know if
You
I
can
have to
stop.
go, I'm in control of the car. I can stop. My personal like hell would be to be trapped in a vehicle and like struggling for my life to hold it in.
I feel your pain.
And there have been times in my life where I have not been able to, like hold it, and I've had to like go on the side of the road or whatever, and it's a thing. Like I literally, and people don't understand it, that like for me at least, there's like a point where like I have to go, and it is what it is.
No, and it is like I have ulcerative
I
colitis,
know, yeah. So
and
you get it.
yeah, it's an immune disease, and I get
Yeah.
it just as bad. And like,
Because you have the same problem. Essentially, it's just a different cause.
yeah, so no accidents, thank God, so
Yeah.
far in 40 years.
Same for me here. Thank
it is,
God.
but there are people that don't have stomach problems. There are runners that to make it to the finish line, they'll just whatever.
Yeah, but that's a choice.
That's a choice. That's a choice.
Kind of a choice. You can
But,
stop.
yeah,
but obviously in a
but
race.
there has been. I'm not a huge fan of being in the car or a plane or anything for long
Yeah.
periods of time either, because it's like our joke the other day. I'd be the best travel buddy because I
Yeah.
know the location of
I know.
every single restroom
Oh yeah.
everywhere.
Oh yeah. I have like a mental map of like where I can go. It's a good spot, whatever. Like within, I feel like
Yeah.
South Florida. It's kind of.
But what's good is that we don't like you. You've obviously traveled more than I have.
Sure.
You've been further than I have, which is amazing for you because considering the circumstance, as inconvenient as it is, you're still considerate to
Yeah.
go places and travel and do things.
Circling back to the whole like Philippines thing, like thankfully I didn't have like any problems and stuff. And like typically there's you can find a bathroom if you really need
Yeah.
to.
It's
You
also
know?
very, IBS is a weird thing because it's a mental anxiety. So like
Yeah.
you feel anxious and then obviously your stomach feels anxious and then you feel like you have to use the restroom.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not one of those things where you can just say, hey, I'm going to hold this.
You can't. Like I literally get to the point where I can't, and it's happened
Yeah.
to me numerous times.
Yeah.
Like,
And then you just got to find
yeah.
somewhere and you got to
Like,
do your deed.
as a kid, one time it was super late night. We're coming back. This was like a road trip thing with like my dad's side of the family. We're in like the childhood van, and we're coming back from Key West, and we were there super late. So it's like freaking midnight, 1 a.m. type, and we're coming through. I can't remember which key it was, but like there's nothing around and there's nothing open, and I'm like, I don't feel good. Like I gotta go. And it's like, okay, well, see if you can hold it. See if you can hold it. Okay. And then it's getting worse. It's getting worse. And we come in waves. Like I feel better. And then, oh no, I feel worse. And I feel better. Oh no, I feel worse. And it ends up getting to this like roller coaster crescendo where I'm like, I feel like you need to pull over the car right now, or I'm gonna go in my pants in the car.
Yeah.
Right. And like,
well, it's devastating. I mean, it's
And-
terrible on your psyche.
and this is like as a kid, I was God, how old was I? It was either middle school or like early, like late elementary. I remember I had to go like off the side of the road, like back against a pole, and there's like a raccoon staring at me while I'm just
It's comical, but it wasn't
sorry to
at the
give my
time.
wife more work, but just on the side of the road.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it is what it is. Like you have to let it out. And like even recently, like there was another road trip again with my parents. We were going to we're going on the way to Pennsylvania, and like I had to go, and I had to go like hobble off into like the woods and go in the woods off the side of the road. And I'm like, it's just like people don't get it. Like, because they don't suffer from that. And it like a lot of it is also like what I eat. Like certain foods will upset my stomach too. And then it's like it becomes a struggle trying to get to work and this and that. Like I have to like tiptoe around certain things because I know the IBS and my sensitive stomach in conjunction are just going to give me a real bad time.
And you want to live like a normal person.
Yeah.
And that's where it's
Yeah.
also hard too. I understand that
I
completely.
accept the fact that like I never will. Like
But you still push to do because
still need
obviously
to
you
go-
are doing
I need to
things.
go. I really do need to go to like a gastro and like But I always wonder. I'm like, what are they gonna do? There's no magic pill that they can just give me where I'm just not gonna poop anymore like that. I feel
Yeah, I
like,
mean,
don't
I
know.
take medication and
Sure.
it helped for the last decade, and then it starts to not work as well.
rear its ugly head again.
Yeah,
I guess,
it starts to not work. But I understand because I mean, mine is a. They have a
Yours
it's
is
an
essentially- it's
autoimmune
It's an autoimmune
autoimmune
problem,
disease.
yeah.
It was unfortunately transferred down you know, because my
Yeah.
dad's got rheumatoid arthritis, so I got an autoimmune
And it's like
disease.
some kind of variation,
But
right?
what's
Technically.
what's crazy is that these diseases used to start at like 30 years old. That's when mine started at 30
Yeah.
years old. Now kids have them. So I'm almost
Our
curious
food.
as to if it's the food that you eat,
Yeah.
you know, and the things. And I have given up gluten, I've given up dairy, I have given up you know, a lot of carbs. You know, I'm an active person. I do so much
Same.
stuff. But yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from because it is a debilitating thing.
So yeah.
Because it's, I don't know, to me, it's a little bit embarrassing. You seem to
is.
handle it a lot better than I do in that sense. I'm being
Yeah.
real vulnerable here, and so are you.
Yeah.
But yeah, for trips and things like that, man, it sucks
it's
because
rough.
unless
really
you
is.
know exactly what you ate the day before, that you're not going to have any issues, and you know your stomach feels pretty good. But ulcerative colitis attacks suck. And I'll get them for like a month, and it's just a draining, depleting, week-long hospital, you know, IV,
I know.
anemic,
You got that
just
really bad.
terrible, whatever.
sometimes.
But for someone who just has, and I don't want to just say it as just has
Yeah, I
IBS,
know.
it's just as debilitating.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just as
Yeah.
debilitating. So, I mean, I would say that that is a huge fear, and it's fear induced most of the time. Because if
Yeah.
you're sitting here, no issues. But it's like the second where traffic starts to hit you, and you're like, oh, I'm in the left lane. I can't get
Yup.
over to the right lane. We're on the highway.
Yup.
The next exit is, I don't want to start getting you
No,
anxious.
I mean, I'm not
but like
anxious,
you could picture it right now.
That's literally the thought process.
Yeah,
It's
I
the
gotta
thought
wait 2 more
process.
exits. I remember one time I was going to someone's house and it was like 12 o'clock at night.
I
I was
feel like
perfectly fine
It makes me a better driver, though. I think
because you're
because
cautious.
I'm constantly thinking of like I'm constantly looking ahead. Like if I'm on the highway, I'm looking way down the thing
Rather than right here.
Because I'm like I need to mentally have like if my stomach's in a good spot, I'm probably not going to really worry about it as much. But like if I'm kind of like uncomfortable, whatever, maybe it's something I ate before, whatever, who knows. But I'm looking way up ahead to see like, is there some problem? Like, is the traffic flowing? Because like, if it's not flowing, I'm dipping right now in this exit
Yeah,
right
try
here
to get
because
out.
I'm like, I'm gonna get away from this and be able to, have a place to go. God forbid if I have to, So it's like, it might actually make me a better driver.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's
yeah.
definitely something to confront, and it's a
Yeah.
lifelong process,
And
even
I
though it's
hate that
inconvenient.
like it's like a snake eating itself though. The fear of being stuck in a situation where you can't go to the bathroom and you have to go, like it's an inevitable.
Well, everybody goes.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
I love the people who would find this conversation.
It's like Anakin. Like,
Well, no, it is true.
Like you fall to the dark side to try to save your pregnant wife.
Yep, and it just keeps going back around.
Right? It's like that. It's like you're scared of that. So
Well,
then
it's
that
like-
agitates the stomach to then cause it to happen. And there's
Yeah.
no like magic just save all.
And to the people who would look at this conversation as either weird or, you know, any of the above, it's like everybody goes.
Yeah.
You know, it's just when you talk about it, I guess it's a little bit more vulnerable because it's not a table conversation. You know, maybe for us it is, but it's not a table conversation.
Yeah.
But everybody goes and it's part of life. Everybody's got their own. So, I mean, I understand your pain, and we should also be real grateful that this is all we have because there's a lot of other things out there that could be a lot worse.
It could
You know,
be worse.
we still do a lot of
Could be
fun
worse.
things. So,
What else you got?
speaking of younger self,
Okay.
if you could go back and talk to your younger self during a difficult time, what would you tell him?
Ooh. I would have told him to buy Bitcoin at $70.
Yes, so
Yeah.
would I. But I mean, if is there anything more significant? It's pretty
Actually-
significant. Don't get me wrong.
No. Actually, yeah.
We could be having this on a yacht.
So to come like full circle here, I mean, the reason I got into martial arts, I didn't actually want to do it. My parents kind of pushed me to do it because I was bullied really heavily as a kid. Like 3rd grade was miserable for me.
Really,
Like I didn't want to go to school anymore. It was a mess.
I would
like,
never imagine that.
Teachers, faculty, like it was really bad. Like everybody had to get involved. Like it was a mess. It was a mess. Teacher did nothing. She was terrible. Yeah, it was not good. No bueno. I didn't want to go to school. It was really bad.
So what would you tell
and
him now?
I would tell my younger
What
self.
would you tell young Christian?
I would tell my younger self, like, these people mean nothing. These people are meaningless. None of these people that are treating you like crap are going to amount to anything in your personal life. You know, the people that matter will come later, and these people, you should pay them no mind.
But when you're a kid, it's very
It's
hard
extremely
because
hard to hear that. I know.
it is the quality. I mean, it is the quantity over the quality
Yes.
the majority of the time when you're a kid because your
Yeah.
brain doesn't function in that
I know.
aspect yet. So when you're a kid, it hits you
Yeah.
to say, I don't have friends.
But maybe coming from my future self, like if I could hop in the Doc Brown time machine, and like
A DeLorean.
and mess up with the timeline, right? Like if it were coming from me, or and my younger self recognized that, I think it'd be okay.
Mhm.
Because it's like, imagine you from the future 10 years comes back and is like, dude, this podcast is gonna be amazing.
But do you
Don't
think
give
that
up
you
on
would
the
listen to him?
podcast. If it's you, why would you not listen to you, right?
Wasn't there a movie with Ryan Reynolds where he went back in the past to his
I
own,
don't
to like
know.
his old self? It's a fairly new movie. It's only been out a
I
couple
don't
of
know.
years. Yeah, and like his younger self is like so infatuated by his older self, and he's just like, yeah, you're just gonna be me when you get older. He's like miserable, like everything's just terrible. You're just gonna be me.
Yeah.
So I mean, when you're a kid,
But-
you don't realize these things are gonna happen because your brain isn't in that space yet where
Yeah.
you understand that things have a place in life.
But I would try to comfort my younger self and be like, oh, it's gonna be fine. These people are a bunch of idiots anyway. Who cares? I know it's like hard to hear that, but these are not your friends.
Have you
They will
seen
never
any of
be.
these people since?
No.
I mean, you moved states.
No, I didn't. I went to school down here.
Oh,
like,
that's
yeah.
right. That's
So I
right.
did grow up with some of these people, like I went to high school with and stuff, and most of those people I don't talk to anyway.
Do you know anything about them? Have you
I-
seen them? Because I mean, I
don't
grew
have
up with some
time.
people who were questionable.
I don't have time. Like I don't have time to keep up with the Joneses with most of the people that like I know from like years ago on Facebook. I don't have time for that.
Mhm.
I'm at work a lot of hours out of the day. I don't have the mental bandwidth to sit here and be like, oh, what is that chick that sits across from me in third grade that like really like bullied me and like threw water on my face? Like, what is she up to right now? I don't care. I do
You
remember
wish-
that instance, but I'm like, I don't care. I don't know what she's doing, and I don't care what she's doing.
Do you wish well to these people,
I mean,
or are you just indifferent?
it's whatever. It's whatever. They were dumb kids. I don't think they're evil. Some of them I think were, it's certain bullies or negative people I dealt with, over the years. I think some of them are crap people,
Mhm.
but I don't think all of them are.
I think
like-
they're just a.
I think they were just like
It was just part of their
snot-nosed
life at that
kids,
time, yeah.
snot-nosed kids. You know what I'm saying? Like man.
It was just a season for them.
The teacher sucked, and I hope she's. I don't wish ill intent on her, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, that gets back to the whole point of
I do
they're
believe
just
it-
bigger kids.
I do believe in karma, and I'm pretty sure that probably came full circle at some point. I don't know,
Well, we don't want to wish bad on anybody,
No,
but yes,
But I feel like the universe has a way of sorting itself out.
Well, I hope
in
it
that
does.
regard.
I hope it
So
does.
I don't wish bad juju, but I feel like it will eventually find
Its
the,
way.
the people that are really caca.
All right. Well, to all you
know?
caca people out there that bothered my buddy Christian,
no,
you
but
suck.
I mean, some of those
Uh,
kids were just snot-nosed kids, but
yeah,
other
but
people,
we grow
it's
up.
like, yeah, whatever. But I
So-
would tell my younger self, like, hey, it's gonna be fine. These people don't matter. The real people that care actually give a damn and will be, by your side for life. You've yet to meet them, and they're out there, and you'll find them, and maybe one day you'll do a podcast with one of them,
Mhm.
and you never know. It's just these people are not for you. These are not,
No, I can agree with you. And I mean, with that, I have no other questions for you. And I think this was a absolutely wonderful get to know you. I think you gave us a lot of insights, some philosophical knowledge on things. Obviously, the aspect of jobs and past experiences that you've had, hardships, achievements, love, things like that. So you've
Yeah.
literally checked off all the boxes on what I love about a good interview and a good podcast and knowing something about someone. So with that being said, is there anything that you want to say on here? A shout out, any handles for social media, any kind of future plans, anything that you're looking forward to that you want some people to know about?
Well, with my wife and I, we're right now. Time is kind of rough. Like we don't have a lot of free time at the moment, but we would like to get into making our own kind of content for fun
Mhm.
of our reactions to, especially hers, considering it's a outside perspective. It's just a totally different upbringing, right? On various games and media and things like that. So that is something we plan on doing, and we'll be probably showcasing some of that either on YouTube or Instagram. Again, same handle, Chris and Lori.
Okay.
So
Is it
keep
on
the loo-
TikTok?
Yeah, we have a TikTok as well. We have TikTok, Instagram.
Okay, so you got TikTok,
YouTube.
Instagram, YouTube.
Yeah.
Anything
just
else?
Those three for now.
Okay, just those three, but
Yeah.
it'll grow.
Yeah,
Okay. So
So
I want everybody to check that out when they get the chance.
check it
We
out.
appreciate all of you tuning in. I appreciate you for being here and just
My
appreciate
pleasure.
life in general because it always gets better no matter how bad it is right now. You'll always move on, and tomorrow the sun will always rise. So we hope you guys have a really good night. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you soon.